Welcome to the Art of Love podcast. My name is Tamar, Gail, and I am here to guide you into deeper, more expansive love, freedom, and pleasure. A deep inner journey of self-discovery. Here, I will cover all types of topics pertaining to love, including self-love and self-care, relationships, Tantra, intimacy, sex, all the way to Christ Consciousness and Pachamama, just to name a few broad topics. My mission is to support you in being true to yourself, reconnecting the fragmented pieces and aspects of yourself so that you can find and use your own inner fire, Shakti power, and voice. It is time to break down the old systems that we have been taught to live by. I would love to see you align with your personal truth and nature instead of succumbing to others' views of how you should be, trying to fit inside of the box in order to be accepted, and instead standing in your power and loving all that you are, accessing a new way of being in the world. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me today on The Art of Love. And today I have a very special guest, Diana Dorell. Diana is a women's empowerment leader, healer, and modern-day medicine woman who helps women own and step into their power to create lives of grace, love, and magic. She is the best-selling co-author of The Dating Mirror, Trust Again, Love Again, that you can find on Amazon. And below, I will be posting different ways that you can connect with her on Twitter and her website. And she's got an amazing free gift, the 7 Goddess Secrets to Up Your Confidence Now, that I will post below as well. So Diana, thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with all of you.
Can you give me a little bit of your background? Because I love your book, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
How did you get started in this path of women's empowerment and modern-day medicine woman? What brought you there?
So I come from a long line of healers and psychics from Venezuela and Colombia. And my grandmother, when I was a little girl, she used to work with herbs in the kitchen, and she used to freak me out, and I would run away, and she would have these prophetic dreams and said, you have this gift too, and one day you're going to use them. And I just thought that was the weirdest thing ever, because when we're a kid, we want to fit in, right? But what I found is, as I was growing up, people would come and share their secrets of mostly about relationships, if you can believe it. By the time I was 6 or 7, and I'm like, I don't want to know that so-and-so is cheating on their husband. I don't even know what that means, but I don't know what to do with it. And so, fast forwarding to when I started this work, or I think the work actually found me. I was living in San Francisco in my mid-20s and doing the crazy artist life. I was acting full-time and had 5 jobs, and there was one summer where I was short on the rent, and a voice said, why don't you start doing readings? And I thought, that's just crazy. I make fun of hippies like that. But something compelled me to put up a sign, and old school, readings by donations. And I got my first client within 45 minutes. It was bizarre.
Wow.
And at the time, I was living with 2 other people in a 1-bedroom. We did not have a space that was collective to having clients over. And I remember freaking out. And this man, wanted to know about his love life. And I thought, by the end, maybe I'll get $10, $20. I wasn't expecting anything. And he slaps down $80. And he's like, and this is worth 3 times the amount, the information that you gave me. And thank you. And I started taking classes and refining my gifts. And it evolved from me doing psychic readings to now empowerment coaching and mixing the healing work in it. And yeah, I love holding space for women, because it's so important for us to trust ourselves in a world where everybody wants to tell us who to be. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what happened. And I got a radio show and a TV show and then the book deal, and it just happened very fast. And I just had to say yes to it and surrender and realize that this is not about me. This is about all of the ways that we're here to add value. And for me at this point in my life, it's to help women.
Divinely guided.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. fall into place. That's meant to be.
Have you ever had those moments where you look back and you're like, if my, like, you know, 5-year-old self knew what I was doing now, like she would be howling and rolling on the floor.
Oh my gosh. And so how long have you been doing your work?
So I started my business officially in 2009. So it's been, gosh, 10 years.
Is your grandma still around in the physical form to know?
No, but she is definitely one of my spirit guides, and I see her in the form of a white butterfly all the time. So when I feel off track, she'll come and visit me, and she's like, remember who you are. Yeah. Remember why you're here. It's okay to be different.
She knows.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, wow. So your book, then tell us a little bit about your book, because that's quite fascinating.
Yes. So the dating mirror started over chai lattes at this little cafe in Scottsdale. My friend Mary Ellen and I couldn't be more different. She's a completely different generation than me, and blonde hair, blue eyes, very much in the corporate analytical world, and I am as far right brain as you can be, right? But we are great friends. And at the time we were both single, and we were exchanging dating stories, and they were eerily similar. And I said, we should write these down. And we didn't have, the idea for a book per se, but over, I would say, a period of 4 years of keeping a Google Doc and adding in these crazy stories, I was like, we have to really get over our own shit and like put this out into the world, because it's not doing anything on a Google Doc on our hard drives. And we realized that we had been blocking ourselves because we were afraid to put out our stories, because it can be really vulnerable to do that. And within 2 weeks, through a contact of hers, we got a publisher who loved the book, wanted to publish us, and the rest is history. And it's really about helping women to trust their intuition on such a visceral level, so that you're not dating the same guy with a different face. You're not, holding on to the one that got away, thinking that you've missed the love of your life. And, and this is a book for not only singles, but also people in relationship that have lost touch with that passion and that connection for each other. It always goes back to us. If you don't feel connected to yourself, how can you expect to feel connected to your partner? And so there's a wonderful mix of personal stories from myself, my friend, clients, and others that have willingly shared, along with intuitive exercises and the woo-woo side. And the funny part is, I'm a big believer in the spiritual world, obviously, and my friend was kind of giving me some pushback. She was like, let's take out that part about angels and go a little more mainstream. And I said, if we take that part out, like, I'm out, because that's me.
Yeah.
And our publisher actually said that was the reason that he wanted to do it, because he was obsessed with angels but hadn't advertised that. And I'm like, see? So yes, it's on Amazon, it's everywhere. The Dating Mirror, Trust Again, Love Again.
Well, and vulnerability is so key. It's so important. And so many times, like, I've been there as well. Like, we close ourselves off because we've had all these experiences that just kind of like, we're dating the same people. We're not learning our lesson as,
right.
Yeah. And wow, can you, well, I don't know if that's too much, but can you say one of your big stories that changed you and made you realize that you needed to kind of change that patterning?
Absolutely. So the one that's coming to mind, we'll call him Jake. But I was at a point in my life where I was very much basing my relationship success on how hot the guy was. Like, how did I look next to him? And it was very about other people and what other people were going to say, and less about my own heart. And so he came into my life, this gorgeous man, totally a narcissist, but I didn't know that. I didn't have the vocabulary around that. And he had 2 children that I found out about later from different women. Never married either one of the women. And was kind of in and out of jobs. Like I remember on his profile, it said like, ask me later about what he did for work. And I'm like, like, is he a drug dealer? Like, what does that mean? But I remember being so pulled in and taken by his charm and his eyes and his body. And we had a pretty karmic, toxic connection for a good 2.5 years. And I felt myself being drained every time I would leave his presence. And now, if you read the book, you'll see that's one of the signs. Like, this is probably a karmic relationship, and you need to see the pattern so that you can break it. And I will never forget, one night that I was at his little tiny place, and I saw this wall hanging above his bed of this Mayan princess and, this prince. And my whole body started I had like the angel goosebumps, the shivers. And I got a flash that I had a past life with him, and I had been kind of tortured and his slave in a sense. And that's exactly how I felt. I felt like I couldn't leave. And it took a lot of energy work and a lot of courage, but I finally did leave. And I haven't spoken to him in years, but I've run into him a couple of times from afar, and there's no charge there anymore because I took back my own power. And what I realized is it's not about blaming him or any of the men, right? For any of the ladies, if you've had a similar entanglement, there are teachers to come back to ourselves. I had to learn how to set boundaries. I had to learn how to say no. It was painful for me to say no to him, right? And I had to have this faith and trust that if I set those, that I would still be lovable, even if he left. So that was a really, really pivotal relationship for me. And I'm so grateful to him now because, the relationship I'm in today is like night and day. I don't feel any of that really weird kind of toxic ties and attachments. And yeah, so I'm really grateful to Jake.
And that's empowerment, and I think so many women and men can relate to that story. And that kind of relationship is what that type of person as a man, yes, typically you could call the trickster, as they're there to entice us and to they draw us in, right? And then, but there are teachers, and there's from them and from that strong pull and attraction that we learn some of our deepest, hardest lessons.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it takes so much self-love to disentangle yourself, right? To just say, you know what, I'm choosing something better, even if I don't even know what that looks like, but this is draining me.
I'm worthy of so much more.
Yes.
And that's the self-love and empowerment and setting those boundaries. And that was a big lesson for me. And a karmic relationship, the last karmic relationship that I had was boundaries. And realizing that, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what a boundary was.
Right? Nobody teaches us. They try, but you're just well, what's that? You're supposed to please everybody. That's what we're taught as women.
Yes.
As a society.
Give them a kiss, smile. Yeah, be nice.
Yeah, be nice is something I heard growing up all the time.
Trust your own instincts. Yeah. It's really quite a big lesson for so many women. Yeah.
And for anybody that's listening that is struggling with boundaries, here's something that my mentor told me that hopefully will help everybody is what is the best for you actually benefits everyone around you, even if there's temporary discomfort.
Yes.
So, because when we're giving, when we don't want to, we poison the potential, right, for that exchange. So yes, I'm begrudgingly doing this because I'm afraid you're not going to like me if I don't. That has a different quality than an open heart overflow. Of course I would do this, and I don't expect anything back, and that's fine. But I'm filled up, so I have the energy to give to you. And it can feel very selfish and guilt-inducing to take time for ourselves, but I work with a lot of women who want to find love, and the number one thing I tell them is you're selfish is probably like most men's norm. So be selfish, try on selfish, and 9 times out of 10 the man will want to please that woman, and she'll be like, why is he paying attention to me all of a sudden? I'm like, because you're not totally focused on him, you're focused on your own pleasure.
That's so true.
It's exciting for them.
Why Men Love Bitches or Why Men Marry Bitches. Like, did you ever read that book?
It's on my nightstand. It's like one of my Bibles. I taught a class last week in Arizona, and I'm like, this one? And where's the other one? Let's see if I have it around. Oh, it's over there. Getting to I Do by Dr. Pat Allen. Another brilliant one.
I remember a friend recommended that book to me years ago. I was in my early 20s. And I read it. I was like, really? Like, this is, coming from a small town in Indiana, like, you don't learn those things. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that must have been totally blasphemous. Like, you want me to not call him back and turn down a date after like 8 p.m.? Really?
A lot of lessons learned. Just put it that way.
As did I. Yeah. As did I. I had to write a whole book to get through them, girl. Like, thank goodness for all those men, or wouldn't have the book to help other people.
Right. Oh my gosh, the lessons learned. But now we can use it as medicine, to guide others and to help to see that same thing, to self-love and empowerment.
Absolutely. And I love that you brought up the word medicine, because as women, we have our own medicine. Like, our bodies are our barometers for pleasure, for danger, everything. And if you can really see and bring out this medicine, you can do anything. Like, women are freaking amazing. And men are amazing too. There's this whole movement about the divine feminine, but we can't exclude the masculine either.
No, we can't. And I find more and more the men are ready for that. Different posts that I've made. My work mainly up until recently has been geared towards women. Mm-hmm. And I've had a few times men reach out, what about men? Like, why aren't you talking about men? And I'm like, yes, it's just because I'm not a man, and there are some amazing men that do men's circles and healing and focus on men that are doing such powerful work in the world that I always recommend to them. And the men they're coming up as well. They're ready. There's a lot of men that are ready to do the work just like the women, and they're looking for it.
Absolutely. And as women, if you find yourself in that space of, I want to attract kind of a higher frequency man, right? It's really, it goes back to that self-care and that self-love. It's like, how are you treating yourself? Can you kind of meet your own needs to a certain degree, right? Without expecting somebody else to fill those gaps. And that's something I had to learn. Mm-hmm. Really, I was like, oh, well, a man is responsible for my pleasure. No, he's actually not. No. I am. Oh, what a concept. I was like, what do you mean I am? Like, that's a lot of responsibility. Yes, it is, girl. Because if you don't know what turns you on, you cannot tell him what you want.
Yes. How can you expect anything else? It's not, if they could just change how we learn in school, like, they need a school for these things.
Yes.
Math. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely. This needs to be taught to our younger generation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had this opportunity growing up as well to learn things like this, how to set boundaries and how to love yourself and how to practice self-care and to really love, do that inner work.
Yes, and love from a place of truth, right? From authenticity, not from a place of obligation or guilt or I should do this. Really, and how can you be a light as a woman? Like, we have an opportunity to share this magic and this medicine with anyone that we come in contact with. So, one of the tips that I can offer everybody is, like, imagine that the whole world, right, gets to benefit from your light. How can you be that light in every moment of your life, even in the difficult situations, even when the person cuts you off in traffic or says something mean? It's like, how do you want to be in the world? do you want to be the reactive little girl, or do you want to be the goddess? And I talk about goddess all the time. It's like a regular part of my vocabulary. My friends know. They're like, hey, goddess, hey, goddess. And it does. It helps you to remember who you are, which is this wonderful being of love. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we all, I mean, men have the goddess within them too. They have the God in them. It's like, it doesn't matter about gender. It's just about how in tune you are with yourself, with your own nature, with your own heart.
Yes. Very much. And that authenticity is so key. It's so key. And from my own experience, it's when we're able to be authentic and vulnerable, it allows that other person in front of us, the people around us, to also know that it's okay to be authentic and vulnerable. It gives them permission for themselves to like, oh, it's like when we're in our power, it gives someone else permission to be in their power as well.
Absolutely. And along with that, it can also bring up people's insecurities. So I've like seen this with clients. It's like, oh, well, if I'm in my full power, why is that person kind of throwing psychic daggers at me or getting all catty at work? And I'm like, it's because they're not willing to step into their light. And that's okay. That's their choice. But that doesn't mean that you lower yourself.
It just allows them to see if they're ready to see, right? Where they're being a mirror, the mirror.
The mirror. We're all mirrors all the time. And it can be really uncomfortable. It's like, wow, that is how I show up maybe in this other area of my life. Maybe not in the way it's presented through this person, but how can I have compassion for that shadow aspect of myself? Right? And all of the tools, that we're taught about being a woman, it's the bulk of it seems to be this way in order to get this thing. And it's totally reversed. Like, be like your authentic self and you will naturally magnetize the things, but they will be the outer effects of your inner commitment to yourself.
Yes, because we're going to attract, and I mean, I know there may be some people that might not understand that there was some of the words that I'm going to use. That's what I'll say, some of the words. But like the vibration, we all carry a vibration. And you're going to attract the level you're vibrating at.
Yes.
So if you're looking for love, if you're looking for a partner and you're wanting to attract a certain thing, like you're saying, you have to be that within in order to attract that without.
Absolutely. Because then what'll happen if you may attract a relationship based on what you think you should be. Right? I did that for many years. I'm like, oh, there's the guy. But it necessarily won't stay in your life for very long because there's only so long that we can go without being ourselves. Like there always comes a point, right, where you're either going to fully embrace who you are and show the other person, or the relationship's going to blow up. And sometimes relationships are not meant to last forever. Like they are definitely there to teach you a lesson about yourself. And it fizzles out, and that's okay. I hear a lot of shame in the industry, in the dating industry, like, oh, it failed. And I'm like, did it fail or did it just simply complete?
Yeah.
And if you're looking to, a relationship for your sense of identity and your sense of self-worth, then every time a relationship completes is going to feel like, it's the end of your world, but it doesn't have to be.
No, there's some beautiful lessons we can just see the relationship as gratitude for what we have learned and how much we've grown. Any ending is going to be hard, and there's going to be a point where we have to go through that grievance. Even if it's small, but
sure,
it's a cycle. But yeah, if you can see, and this is from my own experience, if you can see the lessons with gratitude and how much you've changed and what you've learned and maybe how you've helped each other, then it helps so much to be able to move forward and with joy and peace.
Peace is key.
Unconditional love. Yeah.
Yes.
Back to that compassion and unconditional love for yourself.
And I can hear some people listening to this going like, well, what if he left me? Or what if he broke up with me? I don't feel compassion. And I think there's a place for every feeling. So it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel whatever you feel, embarrassed. But let it move through your body. Don't let it get stuck.
Yeah, that's the cycle. That's part of the cycle of letting go. Yeah. And it does hurt when somebody cheats on you or somebody leaves you. Oh my gosh, it can be painful.
Yeah. Actually, that happened with the guy, with the Jake. It was a gut feeling. I didn't have any proof per se, but I'd never gotten that feeling before. And I confronted him about it. He denied it, but everything, like all my little like spidey senses were like, no. Like whatever he says, you're right. And it's okay. Just see this as another red flag and make a choice.
Yeah. Yep, I've been there.
Have you?
Yes, trust your intuition. Trust your body. And like you were saying earlier, it's like we have that knowledge within our body. We have that intuition for everything. And that knowing, and our body gives us answers, right? So knowing this can go in a completely other way as well, but knowing what feels like a yes or no in your body, knowing the vibrational shifts, knowing when something doesn't feel right, when something's off, like we have that gift inside of our body.
Absolutely. We just don't listen to it, or we already know the answer and we don't want to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, like with Jake, right, I would pull all these cards and I would get one that I didn't like and I'm like, let me reshuffle the deck. And inevitably would come out like 3 more times, like, fine. And it'd always be something like, you need to shoot for the moon and the stars and you're not getting what you deserve. And I'm like, no, I know this deep down, but I'm not ready to leave. And sometimes that's okay too, you guys. Like,
yes,
you can have the awareness and it may not be time to act yet too.
Yeah, beautiful. And I would love to learn a little bit more. I mean, do you work with herbs?
I work with essential oils, not so much herbs. I took one herb.
With herbs, right? Is that what you said?
My grandmother worked with herbs, and they would stink up the kitchen, and I was never, I'm sure they're very valuable, but yeah, I was more drawn to the pretty smells. So I do work with essential oils and also sound. So like I have my tincture bells here that I use whenever I need to clear my head, but also with clients. Like I had a client right before this, and we clear their chakras using these energy centers. There's something about sound that really breaks up the noise, right, in our heads, and also energy. So one of the tips that I give singles wanting to be in a relationship is take a turn about your house and notice where there are pockets in certain rooms that you don't want to be in. Mm-hmm. And you don't even have to know why you don't want to be there. But you can take something like a bell or, even the little like ringer thing on your iPhone and just put it in the pocket, right? That feels a little stagnant. And notice how you feel after that. That's one way to break up the energy. So, and then looking around your house and seeing, does everything here reflect who I desire to be in the world? Not just does it, reflect me being available for relationships, but is this actually who I want to be? Is this who I am? And you may find that you let go of a lot of stuff and you may have some blank walls for a while, but that's part of the journey too. We often hold on to things way too long out of obligation, or, somebody gave it to us, but we really don't like it, but we don't want to get rid of it in case they come over, like all these things. So letting go seems to be the theme here. It's like being willing to let go of your own beliefs that aren't serving, of relationships that are toxic, of objects that don't support your light and environments, and trusting that in the spaces, right, that are left behind, that something beautiful is going to come when it's supposed to, that's more aligned. You have to be willing to sit in the stillness. I call it the spiritual waiting room.
I love that. Such great advice. And I'm actually going to take a walk around my apartment.
I know, I do too. I'm like looking around. I'm like, I'm giving this advice. Let me see. Do I like that wall hanging?
just make sure my space is clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice, and I agree. I think this is kind of went down the path of letting go. You know how we can let go of those things that don't serve. You know, it's beautifully said. Thank you. Yeah. Do you have any other advice or tips or anything else that you'd like to share around that?
Sure. So sometimes a big part of being ready for your soulmate partner, for your next partnership, is looking and doing some self-inventory on like the dreams that maybe went unfulfilled, and letting go, right? Letting go of who you felt you had to be.
Tough one sometimes.
Yeah, because what'll happen is, we'll meet somebody and they may not fit into this dream that we have, but then we never stop to question, do I even have this dream? Or is it because I had it for so long that I'm still holding on? Mm-hmm. And so, I like to use the moon cycles. I'm totally woo, as you probably guessed within the first 2 minutes of this, but
don't worry.
full moons, right, are a time of illumination. We just had one, a big one. And so it's a time of release, and it's a time to reevaluate your life and see, maybe I had this dream to, I don't know, go to Europe and live there for a year. Do I still really, really want that? And if so, what is the feeling I think that dream is going to give me? Mm-hmm. And maybe it's a sense of adventure because you don't have a sense of adventure in your current life, right? So then how can you bring adventure into your current world? Maybe you take a different route to work. Maybe you wear a bolder color than you usually would. Like there's so many ways to, go to Europe and get that sense that may fulfill you in a much deeper way than actually, going to Europe. If at the end of the day you're like, no, I really want to fucking go to Europe, then make a plan, right? And that dedication and that commitment to your dreams is what makes you magnetic to things like relationships, money, opportunities. The doing is a result of who you're being, right? What you're receiving back is a result of who you're being. And if you're turning yourself on and really clear on what it is that lights you up, then people and circumstances are going to shift. Like it just has to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're feeling, whoever's listening to this, if you're feeling stuck right now, or you're really wanting things to change and you feel like you've taken massive action, go back to the drawing board and see, what lights me up, or what did I think lit me up a couple of years ago? Mm-hmm. And it might be time to let go of some of those dreams or to revamp them. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have any dreams, then start a pleasure list. I literally will just go through and I'm like, when I'm having a really bad moment or tough moment, what's something on my pleasure list I can do? And there's simple things like take a bath or go take my dog for a walk a different way. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but taking ownership of your pleasure and your joy is so important.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is so much. So even a piece of chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
Even a piece of chocolate. I mean, I encourage dark chocolate, but it's just because it's better for you without all the additives. But whatever gives you pleasure, even like 5 minutes a day, like 5 minutes an hour, just like, I agree, like going outside and smelling a flower or buying yourself flowers or the breeze on your face, taking a deep breath.
Yes, because what I noticed is as a culture, we have equated pleasure to like being indulgent, right? Or a luxury. And it's not. It's actually a very essential part of our energy. Our bodies are craving pleasure all the time. I always say, if you're feeling stressed, like go to the basics. Are you hungry? Mm-hmm. Are you dehydrated? Are you tired? And have you not played today? And that last one always gets people. It's like, play. Like that is actually very essential to our spirit.
Yeah.
And it's about not having an agenda. It's about not being productive. It's just about doing something that makes you feel engaged in the moment.
Being present in the moment.
Yes. And that's so attractive because we've all been that person, right? That's so disconnected that you're having a conversation, but your mind is like off on your to-do list, or you're sneaking a text under the table. I've been that girl, and I've seen dates like that too. And I'm like, wow, we are totally robbing ourselves of the gift of this moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now with so much technology and apps and pings and even the dating apps, like the swipe left, swipe right movement, it requires extra vigilance on our self-care and our energy. And nobody is going to give you that except you.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny because right now I'm actually in the middle. I just started yesterday leading a 10-day challenge.
Oh, cool.
On more pleasure, how to bring more pleasure and sensuality and joy into your life.
Yay! I want to join.
Yes, come on, I'll send you the link. But today's challenge was exactly that, of like, well, today was connecting with your senses, like taking time to really like taste your food, to smell something, to be present in those moments and seeing how many ways you could come up with of using your senses to connect with that present moment.
I love that.
Yeah. So
what a great idea, girl. I love that. No accident that we're talking about this. Yeah. And, colors are really important. I definitely choose colors that I'm going to wear each day based on the word I want to embody. So this is just a fun exercise. If you're like, I don't know what that self-care thing is about. When you wake up in the morning and you open your eyes, pick a word, any word that represents how you want to feel that day. So today my word is presence. And I'm like, well, what helps me feel present? Hot pink.
I love your color, by the way. I've been admiring
you. Hot pink, man. I got asked to do this like huge speaking gig. I was leading a bunch of women to like move and feel their bodies because my background is as a dancer. And I was like, wow, should I wear like a really nice, like tailored dress with heels? And I'm like, that's so not me, although that would be beautiful. So I actually wore this sweater like off the shoulder with my yoga pants. And I'm like, I'm just going to be me. And so we just all have to like choose colors that make us feel the way we want to feel.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Yes, I'm going to have to buy more colors for my closet because I'm somebody who loves black. I'm a sport.
Oh, okay.
I just love wearing black. But I love colors and I just don't have enough colors.
See, we should switch because I have like almost no black. My boyfriend's like black and gray and like navy blue, and I'm like hot pink and like yellow.
But it looks so beautiful on you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's just like I don't know, it must be a Scorpio thing. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, you guys like to go into the depths, right?
We do. Yes. Yeah.
That's so cool. Do you know what your rising sign is?
A Leo.
Oh, I'm a Leo. That's so funny.
What is
my rising is Taurus.
Okay, my moon is Taurus.
So is mine.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
I see some similarities in our work that we do. That makes so much sense now.
Yes, sensuality, pleasure, luxury, but in an understated way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. So can you tell everyone how they can find you and maybe a little bit about your free gift?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the free gift is something I'm so excited about because I'd hear over and over again, like I've tried all of these, dating strategies and tips to raise my confidence. And it really comes down to these 7 like secrets that I'm about to share with you guys in the gift. It's called 7 Goddess Secrets to Up Your Confidence Now. And you can use it in any part of your life. Mm-hmm. So it works for love, it works for money and business and like career stuff. And they are principles that I have seen over literally almost a decade of this work that helps you to unblock and get out of your own way. So if you want that, you can just go to my website, which is DianaDorell.com, and you can grab it. And I'm also on Facebook. I'm very probably too active on Facebook. I'm like, I need to get off Facebook and go walk my dog. It needs to pee. But let me check this ping. So yeah, I'm on Facebook and also on Instagram using my name.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm going to put all those links down in the comments below so that everybody can find you.
Perfect.
And is there anything you'd like to close with?
Just that you have all the answers. Stop saying you don't know and ask yourself, what do I know about this situation, about this relationship? Make that question a practice that will start to get you to trust your intuition more, because it's already there. It's not like you have to do a lot to access it, but we have to shed the layers of all of the past times where we didn't listen to it so that it can really shine and support us. So what do I know in this situation? And the last thing I'm going to say is you are so, so loved. The universe loves you, and when you can love yourself and from that space of pure owning who you are, even if you're not sure who that is, the world is literally your place to create. It's your playground. So have fun. Trust yourself, love yourself, and have fun. That's my recipe for a happy life and a happy relationship.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with us today. And
thank you for having me.
I look forward to connecting more with you.
Me too. I know. I'm like, soul sister, we got more in common than I realized.
Me too. I know. I realized that. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for The Art of Love. And I look forward to connecting with you again next Wednesday. May we go out into the rest of this week embodying more love for ourselves, love for others, and love for Pachamama, Mother Earth. So love to each and every one of you, and see you next week.